Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be getting women to look past your flaws. Well, I've got an email here from a viewer who he suffers from rheumatoid arthritis, and he says he's young too. He's only like 25, and so he says it obviously really is affecting his body language and how he shows up in his relationships. So obviously we're going to discuss some of his limiting beliefs, which actually come out in his email. But I've got a quote that I want to start off with. It's by Andy Andrews, who I think is a phenomenal public speaker. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to read any of his books, or better yet, watch some of his DVDs, his public speaking DVDs. Like the one that he did a few years ago, he did a PBS special called, I think, The Traveler or The Traveler's Gift. Great. He's an incredible public speaker because he does such a great job at telling a story, and so his stories are the type of thing that all of us can relate to. And so he says, adversity is preparation for greatness. And that's by Andy Andrews. I love that quote. And so the viewer says, hey Coach Corey, I've been reading your book and watching your newsletter videos daily since September. Thanks for all of the great coaching and help. There has been one topic that I have trouble with that I've been reading in your book and have seen in your newsletters, and that's body language that attracts women. I actually did a video and an article a while back called Body Language That Attracts Women, and so you can Google Corey Wayne, Body Language That Attracts Women, and that article will come up along with the video. And it's a great video to watch because I talk about the body language. I actually demonstrate this on camera of how to stand, how to walk, what to do with your chest, because it makes a night and day difference. Women can just tell by looking at a guy how sure he is of himself, how much certainty he has about himself, his purpose, his mission, where he's going in life. And so when a woman starts interacting with any particular guy, she's sensing that. She's looking at your body language and the subtle cues that you're giving off in your physiology. And like I've talked about before, like if you get 5 or 6 guys together, the average typical guy, even like some big muscular dudes, and then you have a super smoking hot woman walk in the room, just watch the body language of the group of guys. They all start to hunch over, they all become submissive, they all start to act like a bunch of little women, falling all over themselves, trying to please her, buy her a drink, get something for her, make her comfortable. And they go from this confident alpha male physiology into one of like the gay male girlfriend. And these guys wonder, it's like, why doesn't any woman ever pay any attention to them, even though they may be good looking and attractive and in great shape? And it's because of the body language that they're giving off, their body language. Because what's interesting is that the spoken word, and I talked about this in my book and my audio series, is only like, I can't remember what it is now, like 15-20%. So the words that you actually use are only communicating about 20% of what you're actually saying with those particular words. And so it's like 75% of what you're communicating is through the tone of your voice and your body language. And so that, in essence, makes up more for what you're communicating. And so you could be saying all the right things, but if your body language is fucked up, because maybe you've got physical ailments, like this particular guy has rheumatoid arthritis, or his structure is all screwed up, maybe you're stuck in a stress state, maybe you had a car accident. But what happens is, like, when your body is literally, this is the interesting thing about this, and that's why I'm such an advocate for network chiropractic care. And I wrote an article about that called How to Become More Confident and Sure of Your Actions. So if you Google Corey Wayne, How to Become More Confident and Sure of Your Actions, I go into detail of what network care is and what it does for you. But in a nutshell, it's different from regular chiropractic, and the network care means the doctors are using several different types of chiropractic disciplines to facilitate healing on the patient that they happen to be working on. And what network care focuses on is getting your body to drop all of the tension in your nervous system. Because when a stressful situation happens, or when we're in a fearful state, you're literally directing your body to tense up. I mean, think about it. What would happen in the old days, like when there was a saber-tooth tiger running around? I mean, you literally had to run for your life, otherwise you were going to become some other animal's meal. And so we have this fight or flight response, which is centered in the base of the brain of your skull. And so because the average person goes through life, they have emotional traumas or traumas that happen in childhood. Maybe they're physical traumas like a car accident or a sports injury. And so what happens is over time when something happens like in your family, like if you grew up in a emotionally fucked up family like the family that I grew up in, where nobody's expressing emotions, nobody's hugging or giving affection, saying I love you, you're just basically getting yelled at. What happens is, as a child, like what happened to me, is like the emotional center of my body, like where your rib cage comes together in that V, and the front of your chest, that's the emotional center of your body. And so because I had two parents that were incapable and just had no idea how to express emotions or affection, so what happened to me is that I would do something, and I didn't get the I love yous or the attaboys. I just got yelled at and beat and punished when I did things wrong. And so I was basically always running around, and my family basically, or interacting with my family, looking not to get yelled at, or just trying not to piss my dad off to the point where he'd beat the crap out of me or smack me around or give me the belt or whatever it happened to be, because I never knew. All I knew is that when I did things wrong. And so what this caused is it caused the muscles around the area of my spine in the back that's associated with the emotional center. What happens is they tense up in a stressed state. And so when the muscles tense up, you think of like all the nerve endings that come out and connect to all of the organs that go to that part, that are connected to that part of your body, whether it's the pancreas or your gallbladder or your intestines or your heart, whatever it happens to be. And so it's kind of like when the muscles tense up, it's just like if you've ever been washing your car in a driveway and you happen to step on the garden hose while it's running and you got your shoes on, you'll notice that it restricts the flow of the water and it makes that squeaking noise that it happens to make, and then the water flow is reduced. Well, that in essence is what happens to your nerve endings as they come out of your spine. And so you can imagine as you grow up and those traumas, emotional traumas, just keep happening. What happens is in your back, you'll actually get a lump around that area of your spine where the muscle is just always hard in a stressed state. And you can imagine, it's like, what's interesting is like when people get sick or they have ailments or dis-ease in their body, wherever they're the most disconnected from, and in other words, the brain has been literally physically disconnected from those organs that are at the other end of those nerve endings because the muscles are so pinched and so hard. And so what happens is like you hunch over, and so literally this gets, as you age, it gets locked into your physiology. And so think about it. It's like if you were to stand up right now and feel depressed, what would happen? You'd be looking at the ground, you'd be hunched over a little bit. Now just imagine you're locked into that, physically locked into that physiology. Even when you stand straight, it's like a rubber band, you're going to want to spring back to being hunched over. And so that's going to affect the quality of your life. Imagine if your physiology is stuck in one of being depressed all of the time, or feeling sad, or feeling ashamed of yourself. You're always going to be looking at the ground. And so that's one thing that's obviously that it's important here, and I'm going to get into detail more of this in a minute. And so he says, I'm a 25-year-old male with rheumatoid arthritis, and my body language does not show confidence because of stiffness and deformity. Well, network care will definitely help that, because what happens is as the muscle tension drops, your brain starts being able to reconnect to those areas and the muscle groups it's been disconnected from. And once it re-senses that area, it's able to move the muscles, move the vertebrae into the proper position that they need to be in, send oxygen, blood flow, proper nutrients to those areas of the body that's been disconnected from, and also start to remove waste from that area. So he says, I have limited neck movement, hand deformity, which I can't even shake hands with anyone, and I walk funny. My childhood, I was bullied and made fun of a lot, and I have insecurities about it, so much to this day that I don't even know what it's like to have a Facebook account, being that I don't want anyone from my past to remind me or bring up my past or make fun of my past childhood. Well, think about that you're trying to avoid the past, and so your belief is that everybody from childhood is going to have something negative to say. Now, does that serve you? Is that a positive, empowering belief system, or is that one that makes you shoot for less than your potential? Something to think about. He says, I'm good looking and I can attract women more than the average guy, but because of my disability, and this is your story, I become insecure and get dumped because most girls would rather date a normal, physically flexible body guy than one that can't actually hold them or touch them in a way that they feel sexy or to seduce them because of my crippling disability. I was dumped 5 months ago by a girl that I really loved and I was in a relationship with for 9 months, but really lost her 3 months before it ended. Well, with your belief system, dude, even if you had a perfect body and you didn't suffer any of these physical ailments, you'd still get rejected because your belief system is basically communicating whether you realize it or not. And remember when I talk about your body language and your physiology, how in the tone of your voice, how it's going to communicate over 75% of what you're communicating. And your belief system sucks. And so your belief system is going to affect everything you do and everything you say. And so it's simply a matter of time before a woman gets tired of you constantly communicating, I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve you. It's just a matter of time before you dump me. And so I'm just preparing myself for the ultimate event of you dumping me because I'm such a loser and I have nothing to offer you. He says, I'm depressed at times and I just want to break through this. How can I express more confident body language or get women to look past my flaws? Well, I've done several videos in the past on this, and I'll link to a few of them in the actual article on this particular video. But my suggestion for you is that you should definitely work on find a network chiropractic doctor that is near you that's level 3 certified, and you can go to wiseworldseminars.com and find a practitioner. You should also do Google search, because also Donnie Epstein, who's the founder of Network Chiropractic, he doesn't have all the doctors on his website that are actually able to do this. The only ones that he really has on his website are people that are paying to be listed there. So look on his website, and there's nobody in your area. I would also Google it and see if you can find somebody that's level 3 certified, because that would really help fix your physiology. Because if your brain is stuck in a stress state, and I'm sure because of what you've grown up with, obviously your physiology is going to be a little fucked up, and network care can really help with that. And another thing to understand about arthritis is that arthritis is basically acid settles to the weakest part of the body. And so you should definitely get with your doctor and your healthcare professionals. Read Dr. Robert O. Young's book, The pH Miracle, because that will open your eyes. And I would say you've got to cleanse, you've got to detox your body, because arthritis is basically inflammation. And the only reason our tissues become inflamed is because our body is not able to rid itself of the toxins. And so it starts by your sewer system backing up. The colon starts to back up, the small intestines start to back up, they become caked with mucus and undigested protein. And that stuff basically festers in your insides. And so your whole immune system is basically working to keep all of that bacteria and disgusting gook that's caked up inside you at bay. And so like when the holidays come along and you're eating more unhealthy foods and drinking, the weather's a lot colder, obviously that's, then you get exposed to someone that's got the flu virus or whatever. It's like your immune system just can't take it. And then you go into detox mode, which is where you have diarrhea, you got the shits, the sweats, you're puking, mucus is coming out, those types of things. That's your body's natural rebalancing mechanism. So 2 things that will really help you is network chiropractic care and eating healthier, because, like I said, arthritis is an inflammation thing. And the interesting thing is once toxins go to a certain part of the body, which is like your joints in your particular case, even if as that stuff gets flushed out or comes out through the skin, anytime you ingest new toxins through what you're eating, it's magnetically drawn or like electrically drawn right to that same area of the body. So if you want my help right away, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session. You can do that by going to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. And I will talk to you soon.